All right, the Benzel Talk Takeover continues season 3, episode 2, with a very special guest. All of these episodes presented by Academy Sports Outdoors and brought to you by D1 Baseball. This week, coming off of an incredible weekend set, Irvine, the Anteaters, the Gauchos, and Ben Orloff and his squad roll out victorious. Coach, I appreciate you joining me this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Jack.
Absolutely. Hey, I know it's an early morning, but we're rocking and rolling. We are the early bird, or excuse me, the early anteater gets the worm in a sense. I'm going to start you off with a T-ball question. Have you ever seen an anteater in real life?
We've never seen one here around campus. I did hear at one point there was one at the Omaha Zoo, so that'd be worth making a trip to try to see.
I heard that Omaha's gorgeous in mid-June. I got a weird feeling that we're going to see Irvine there.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So it's not like LSU. There's not like a tiger on campus in Baton Rouge. There's no anteater rolling around on campus in SoCal.
No, they got Mike the Tiger. We don't have Peter the Anteater walking around anywhere.
Oh, that's magical. Well, Coach, I do want to talk about the weekend though a little bit, man, because the Anteaters are sweeping waves across the country right now with y'all's play. That felt like a statement victory for you and the boys.
Yeah, we played really well in Santa Barbara. Obviously, we got a ton of respect for those guys, and the caliber of team they are now, and how good they've been the last however many years. We're playing at a high level right now. I think it started for us last weekend at Northridge. Just kind of the completeness to the game. We got really good pitching. We played really good defense. The at-bats 1 through 9 were quality. So to go in there and win 3 games, it takes a special performance, and we were really good this last weekend.
Had the opportunity to meet yourself and your squad in that first weekend out in Arizona during the MLB Invitational. And I'm curious, was it part of y'all's game plan to really go and challenge yourselves in the non-con? Because you guys saw some incredible competition that weekend. Not only did you handle yourself with class, but you guys went out and balled out, kind of proving that you could play with those P4s, and there was just nothing to it. Was that a part of, I guess, building the resume or challenging the boys a little bit early on?
Yeah, I've always believed in trying to play as difficult as non-conference schedule as we can. I think kind of twofold. One of it to try to build up the best at-large potential resume that you could have. And I know a lot of that starts with going on the road. A lot of that starts with playing people that are going to win a lot of games. And I think the other part is just for our players to go play against, if it's week 1, Nebraska, New Mexico, Vanderbilt, and just to see those guys on the same field that, a lot of those people that we read about or see on the internet, to be able to play them, and our players get a chance to see, hey, we're a good team too. And, I'm just a firm believer in that. When you play well and you have good talent, you can play with anybody in the country.
Talk about building that at-large resume. You guys have been one of the bona fide best mid-major teams in the country. I'm a mid-major guy, and I know I joked about the Anteater mascot. I do think it's my favorite across the Division I board, not even close. But it's special for you, right? Like, you wore this jersey as a player, now to do it as a coach. How special has this run been? And what does UC Irvine baseball mean to you?
Yeah, this place means a lot to me. I played here for 4 years and then went and played professional baseball and quit to come back and work here. And so, I've been a part of UC Irvine really on and off since 2005, so almost 20 years. So it's special. It means a lot. I feel a lot of internal pressure to not let people down. And, I got this job after Coach Gillespie, and I only have this job because of Coach Gillespie. And so, you feel that weight of trying to make him proud and not let people down. And then, just the guys that I played with before, but more than all that, just the kids on our current team. I mean, we owe them our best. And so it's fun, but yeah, this place means a lot to me, and it's been home for the last 20 years.
I love that. Well, in a sense, right, you talk about like carrying that like baton from Coach Gillespie, and in 6 years, right, like this has become not to say it's on cruise control, because that would be a disservice to what you guys are building your tails off, right? Like, I think we joked about like the name brand, right? Like, it has become recognizable. Like, when people show up to the ballpark, like, they know exactly what they're going to get at your squad. Like, y'all's grittiness and tenacity. And I don't just say this because like I'm tooting your own horn, but like in person to see it, I was like, oh man, there's like a different level of like animosity, like when these boys like strap it up together. Like, is that something that starts, hey, in August when these guys arrive on campus, like, or is it even in the recruiting chairs, like, hey, we're gonna go like recruit guys that like are just dogs in a sense?
Yeah, I think I appreciate you saying that. I think it starts the recruiting process where, we kind of are are overly blunt and honest with people in the recruiting process and want to make sure that nobody chooses Irvine for the wrong reasons. And we start by telling them, it's all about team. That's the most important thing. And when the team does well, you do well. And we want guys that want to get coached. And I think that, in 2025, the value of, if you can get guys that really want to be on a team, that can prioritize team, that can prioritize winning, that you can coach, that want to get coached, and you're not having to worry about hurting somebody's feelings if you're telling them something that you think can make them better. I think that's where it starts in the recruiting process. And that's just what we are. I think we, in the fall, I try to be really demanding of the guys because we're not playing outside opponents, trying to be, their competition a little bit to push that standard of how good can we be. But we've got really good players that like I said, they prioritize winning. I think, it's a little, I don't like really chip on our shoulder necessarily, but I think we've got something to prove every night. And we're always trying to get better. And so it makes it's a really group of kids, and it makes it fun to be around.
You talked about it, this idea, especially for me, right? Like I told you when I met you, and getting to know your staff, like Alex, your SID, like getting to like pick his brain about, all right, hey, like, obviously we can read the box score, and preseason Golden Spikes guy and Anthony Martinez. I was like, I want to learn, right? Like that West Coast bias. I was like, I'm that Charleston Beach boy. Like, let me expose myself to like some real ball out West, because I think the idea that, hey, it's going to be small ball, we're moving runners. I think the great Mike Rooney, we joked about it when we were watching you guys in Arizona. He's like, dude, they're kind of built like maybe an all-star high school football team. I go, he's got a bunch of tight ends and middle linebackers out there. The physicality that you guys have 1 through 9 in your lineup, y'all rake. And from a strength and coordinate, like I guess a strength and agility standpoint, is that something that you're also taking a look at too in the recruiting phase, or is that in-house? You guys have a way that you guys are working out, because from a physicality standpoint, you guys might be one of the biggest teams in the country.
Yeah, we've been recruiting, specifically physical position players that, you look across the country, and specifically, in the SEC and in the postseason, you got to be able to hit the ball over the fence. You've got to be able to impact the ball. You can't have, in my opinion, too many little guys. It's too hard to score, if it's only a single. But I think offensively, to try to be as complete as we can, and it starts with really good at bats and managing the strike zone. And I think when you do that, the on base stuff goes up, the slug goes up. But yeah, it definitely starts with recruiting physical guys. But it's tough because you got to be able to play defense. So trying to finding that niche of player. There's not a ton of guys that fit that mold, and so we feel really fortunate with the group that we've got now.
Let's talk about some of those dudes in particular. Chase Call was a guy all 4 years on campus, a little bit of a unicorn in today's college athletics landscape. His game to me really stood out, but more so his leadership as well. What's he meant to the squad?
Yeah, Chase is, we don't have formal captains, but he's a huge leader on the team, somebody that everybody looks to and respects. And like you said, he's been here for 4 years, and he's earned that leadership role, not because of his birthdays. He does things right all the time. He cares about winning. He cares about his teammates. He gets excited when his teammates do stuff well. And I think his games just continue to grow every year since he's been here. And you were there in Arizona, and I think most of those games in Arizona, he looked like the best player on the field. And he can change the game in so many different ways. He's played really good in right field. He can leave the yard. So Chase has been a gigantic part of why we've been good this year and the last couple of years.
Love that. And then from a transfer standpoint, to get a guy like Colin Yeaman to come in, did you guys expect this? Because he's gone in fuego. Like, I don't know if I went and played Little League baseball next week, I'd be able to put up some of the numbers he's doing right now.
Yeah, he looks like the best guy in the field most nights. He had 2 really good years at College of the Canyons, junior college here. They were cut short. He had a left shoulder injury where he missed the large portion of his sophomore year. And he worked extremely hard this summer to come back from that deal. And so we didn't really even see the best of him until like January, February with the season starting. But his work ethic to get to that point where he could play was incredible to see. I mean, this guy was driving 4 to 5 hours round trip to do rehab and work on his shoulder. And so now to see him in the competitive environment, having the start of the year that he's had, it's really cool because he's a really great kid. And to get another guy that we're really pumped that he's here.
Yeah, believe it, man. How about the youngsters on the bump, whether it's Ojeda or Hansen, like two really different roles, I guess, in the way that you utilize them. But for just sophomores, what stood out to me when I saw them in person, I was like, well, hey, sure as heck don't pitch like underclassmen. What the hell?
Yeah, and it started, I think, last year for both those guys. I think, especially now in college athletics, that both those guys had huge impacts right away as a freshman. Trevor made 16 starts, started a regional winners bracket game against Oregon State. Uh, Ojeda made through 50 innings last year for us last year, and so those guys are both really experienced sophomores, and both of them are different. Trevor is very steady, competitive. He's given us 3 really good starts in a row. There's a lot of trust when he's out there, and he can really pitch. And then Ojeda, I said it after this weekend. I mean, he's among the most valuable pitchers in the country. I mean, the way that guy bounces back, he went 2 2/3 on Friday. He went 3 on Sunday. He just got pitcher of the league in our conference as a relief pitcher. He strikes out 11 guys in 5 2/3, and he always wants to pitch. He bounces back great. He misses bats. So those guys are critical for how good our pitching's been. And in this last weekend against Santa Barbara, we gave up runs in 4 of the 27 innings. And so there was a bunch of different guys that threw the ball really well for us. And so we're starting to find our groove on that end of it.
I was gonna say he's been the rubber band man, like the 3 2/3 to bounce back like that. I was like, that doesn't really exist anymore. Is there? I know I want to talk offensive identity, and I'm gonna bridge that into bragging on you and your playing career. But from a pitching standpoint, like, what's the secret sauce? Like, it does feel contagious and wanting to chase that next scoreless inning from guy to guy.
Yeah, it's like with everything. It starts with good players,
Right.
but we've got a good group of those guys on the mound, and they all have really unique stories. Where Riley Kelly now is throwing on Friday nights for us, and this was a kid that got drafted out of high school, had some injuries the last 2 years, where he came into this year with 20 college career innings. And to see what he's done, where I mean, you saw him week 1 pitching out of the bullpen against Vanderbilt, and every week he just keeps getting better. And he goes 5+ shutout on Friday night at Santa Barbara against Tyler Bremner, who's one of the best pitchers in the whole country. And so Riley keeps getting better. We talk about Hansen and Ojeda. Ryder Brooks is having a great year for us, pitching in a variety of different roles. Max Martin, he might be leading the country in saves right now with 6. He's thrown 17 innings. His career high, I think, coming into this year was 26. David Butler is a senior that had 9 innings last year and 15 or 16 already this year. So that core has been really good for us. And so I think, the identity is throwing strikes and being competitive and trying to avoid that big inning. And, our pitching coach, Danny Babona, has done a really good job with those guys. We played together for 3 years at Irvine and have worked together. So it's a good group, kind of headlined by those guys on the mound. And it's been fun.
That was kind of what I was segueing. Like your pitching coach, right? Part of that fraternity that is worn a UC Irvine jersey, which I feel like is so important. Like, and not only respecting like the brand, but it's like understanding that you can talk the talk, but more importantly, like your guys know that you walk the walk quite literally in those same spikes. I'm going to put you on the spot. Leader in hits, leader in runs. Is there a guy that's going to threaten your throne, good sir?
Hey, we hope so. There's a reason why I stand in the dugout and have my hands in my pocket now and let the good guys play. Yeah, we hope so. We'd gladly take that.
I love that. I was going to 281 hits, but I think my favorite nod. So I played in the Big South, or I watched a lot in the Big South. I played at Charleston Southern in my freshman year. I was like 155 pounds soaking wet, so it was a no-brainer redshirt year. And we played Coastal Carolina that year. 16, they win the national championship. So good for mid-major baseball. But the thing that stood out to me, right? They lead the country in home runs that year. They also led the country, right, with Gilly ball, right? Sacrifice bunts. They lead it in sack bunts. It took like a 25-minute bunt round. And then I get to see you guys in person. I'm like, I'm not connecting the dots, but I'll do it for you. But you led the country in sack bunts twice. And I think now your offense has kind of taken on the embodiment of your game when you played. I To me, right, like that West Coast ball, but also to be able to slug it gap to gap, is the sack bunt, right? It ain't dead in college baseball. Give the people your elevator pitch on it because I'm all in.
Well, if you can't hit, they make you bunt a lot. And so I probably weighed less than your 155 pounds. And when you're hitting 200 as a freshman, it's probably a really good idea to give sacrifice bunt. So I guess, but in our offense, we want to be complete. I think we set the school record, I think, for runs last year. I think home runs. But I think you got to be complete on offense. You got to be able to win if it calls for 9-7 or if it calls for 2-1. And offensively, part of that is the bunt. And we don't bunt a ton. But Friday night at Santa Barbara, we bunted 4 times. And so I think just the ability to win games in a variety of different ways, to do what the situation calls for, that's really important. I hope all of my records get broken besides sack bunt, because that'll won't happen, because people will hit much better than that.
It's so funny. I was gonna say led the country twice in it, but you're leading UC Irvine baseball history in runs and hits, as I mentioned, 281 as a hitter, a 30-time All-American. The Gold Glove, though, which one means, I guess, holds a heavier weight in your heart, I guess, like, because you got a hell of a resume stacked back there. Because I believe you're the first ever Big West Player of the Year from UC Irvine as well, too.
I mean, the one that holds weight is going to Omaha in 2007. I mean, that's by far the most memorable thing that happened to me in my UC Irvine career. That run, winning a regional at Texas, winning a super regional at Wichita State, going to Omaha. We won 2 games in Omaha. We lost to Oregon State before they won the national championship. My junior year, we'd lost in a super regional at LSU that one day we'll try to forget. And then my senior year, we were the number 1 ranked team in the country for like 2 months and hosted a regional for the first time. And so those are the things that really stick out to me about my playing career at Irvine.
Winning, baby. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot because I feel like a lot of your kids, we're not going to ask you best swing, best arm. I want to know the personality on that bus. Do you guys play Mafia on the bus for trips, or what's the game of choice back there?
Yeah, there's a lot of Mafia that goes on the bus back there.
Who's the narrator? Who's your TV character, in a word, that's taking control?
Yeah, I think it's your guy Chase Call doing it most of the time. We got some characters. I try to enjoy it from a distance.
There's some personality back there. All right, well, I want to showcase that personality. Who's got the best on-field swag?
The best on-field swag. Our players will laugh. I think the best swag you got is like your game. I think we see a lot of. I think we see a lot of swag in 2025 that might not be correlated to your game or winning.
Oh, that's fair. See, I'm just thinking like aura in the box, right? Like it didn't even have to be like the sleeves and crap. But
I think just the natural. Or I think when Martinez hits, I heard somebody say they feel like the count's always 2-0. I think just like the comfort level in the box that he exudes.
That's perfect. Okay, how about the off-field swag? Anybody rolling in clean? Because y'all social team has killed it. That's why I really asked this question.
Yeah, we have a good social team. I'm trying to think of the off-field swag. We have some interesting outfits that roll through the office there, especially on some of those game days. So it's hard for me to pick one.
We got game day fit people. Who's got the best walk-up this year? Pitcher and hitter.
Hey, the one that seems to get the guys the only one I can think of offensively that gets guys going is actually Theo Kim. He doesn't have a ton of at-bats, but he's got a walk-up song that gets the guys going.
Okay. How about any pitchers that roll in? Because it's a little bit of a different vibe.
The pitcher ones, I'm usually too busy thinking about the next thing. I can't tell you a pitcher one.
That's perfect. Outside of UC Irvine, is there another team in the country wearing stirrups as often as y'all? And I'm curious, is that a part of the tradition? Like, did you guys rock the stirrups when you played?
Yeah, we have. I don't know. Guys that know me know I'm pretty boring and don't pay attention to the uniform stuff. I know we've been doing the stirrups since I played. Coach Serrano, that was kind of his thing. I think he brought that over from Cal State Fullerton. With Coach Gillespie, we kept it. And so I've just kept it. I think it's, I like the old school aspect of it, kind of the tradition. And, Coach Gillespie used to always say, uniform, uni, that prefix means one, which kind of goes a little bit against not some of the swag or other type of stuff, but, uniform means one. We kind of look the same. So I like the look.
I love it. I'm a huge Star fan. I wore them since I was a little kid. I think it's a part of it. But I like that uni means one. I'm all in on that. Coach, I appreciate your time more than you know. We'll leave it at this, right? We my guy Ben Upton had created the 8-year model. Every 8 years, a mid-major wins the Natty. Now, since 2020, no COVID, no college baseball. Technically, we are in our 8th season since 16. If it's you guys in Omaha, give us one word, right? Your 3 keys to success. That's my broadcaster cliche. Like if I were to ask you, what do you need to see from your squad, not only through the conference play, but postseason aspirations for you guys to be one of those final 8 in Omaha?
I think we got to continue on the track that we're on, and I think right now it's it's a new challenge, for lack of a better word. I think when you play well, when you start getting some attention, sometimes it's as hard to deal with. If we want to say this is success 20 whatever games into the season, it's important for us to keep going and to stay focused on improvement, and knowing that out west there's no you talked about scheduling earlier. There's no chance for a let up because the margins between getting to the postseason and not are so thin. So I think just that elite focus and continuing to put the team first.
I love it. Well, when you guys are hosting, man, I'm booking my flight. I want to come out. I want to see Irvine at its in its glory, like rocking a little postseason bid. So sign me up.
Yeah, sounds good. We'd love to see it for that.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Before I let you go, this is a T-ball question. I don't want to say, what do you write your lineup with? Because I feel like I know that answer, unfortunately. Coach, are you a pencil or pen guy, though, sir?
Pencil. I make a lot of mistakes.
Go. Coach Orloff. The Eaters, appreciate your time. It was a nice softball question at the end, but made me happy.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks, Jack.
Yes, sir.